white walls broken up by delicately reassembled explosions. Each window lensing backward onto 1,000 histories of fracture and healing, of repurposing matter and reconsolidating its energy. It is the first day of spring, and amidst this poetry of wreckage, I rearrange the pieces of my own fragmented reality, trying to merge their trajectories into the image of a new whole. While outside, the noise of the street, the desperate city, the broken world. The other explosions, a few borders away, the ones that extinguish light, that invert creation, that erase possible futures from the timeline. I haven't been sleeping well. Still, I come to the gallery, I sit here on the floor, and I put my hope in art. In the idea that the light pushing its way through these pieces must come from somewhere. Not just the lamps from the hardware store, but the place where all light comes from. Wherever the Big Bang happened. Wherever the universe is expanding into. To whatever extent there is destruction, there must also be source. Whatever pushes young green shoots through the concrete rubble must also push through the artist's hand. The defiance of annihilation, the playful dance with entropy. I am here looking for that force to enter and push through me, to buoy me on the waves by which I am tossed. My life has lost all sense lately, but who can even complain anymore? The terminal velocity whirlpool of disorientation has become the norm. We are all shards of light spectralized by debris glinting through a chaotic wind. Even my metaphors feel shotgun splattered into a clothes dryer. Trying to freeze times like these into physical space is audacious. Trying to catch the shrapnel of happenstance as it whips through this vortex in which we all careen as we spiral into eternity, then soldering the pieces back together, reapplying structural integrity, reweaving narrative, fusing the jettisoned scraps of existence into flower beds of new vision. This gesture lends comfort to my internal disaster. A phoenix of improvisation rising from the trash pile of overconsumption. These jazz arrangements blossoming in a punk rock fertilizer. It feels like home to me. So I've been hiding out here, helping with the lights, running errands to the Brico place for wood and screws, trying to feel useful while I figure out how I too might cobble myself selectively back together. Looking at things in the warmth of Alison's curated glow while I try not to focus on how lonely I feel in the flickering of mine. Struggling to remember how to conduct my own spectrum, how to shine. I can't even decide if I should be trying to think or trying to not think about the war. If the making and celebrating of beautiful things is an adequate course of remedy in the face of real horror. But if it isn't, then what is? What is the most effective way for a poet to throw their soul under the wheels of the death machines? When maybe nothing even slows their roll. Maybe nothing sates the appetite of the darkness, which would mean the only question is whether we sparkle anyway. Whether we strive to insist. Whether we aspire to an equal and opposite appetite for creation. The other night, Alison asked me, what would Giovanni Boldini do? And in my heart, I knew the answer. He would whisk away whatever disinterested him with a flourish. He would scrape out the background noise with the backside of his brush. He'd transform the whole context into a bouquet of flares from his own wrist, giving focus and attention only to the subject of his choice and rendering everything else as a playground for his subconscious. He would simply live larger than the evils of his day. And live longer, too, by immortalizing his own sense of aliveness, launching it at least 100 years into the future, so it would still be offering refuge as generations of soldiers and despots came and went. And I guess if I want to be a decent artist, I'm going to have to do that too. Build my own lifeboat and pack it with a century's worth of provisions, then sail it out into the timeless ether. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Maybe this is exactly what I need right now. I mean, no offense anybody, but I gotta get out of here. I can't take it anymore. I'm drowning. It has to be now. I'm on the launch pad tonight. I can feel it. This is the moment. I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna blast off into the everspace. Child of the cosmos, naked save for the intimate caress of the void. The end of everything is the mother of my invention. Transgressing the stratosphere, I am reborn, astro-dervish, twirling particles of orgiastic mania, crowd-surfing the apocalypse, voracious, thirsty, untethered from consequence. I am out there, man. I'm free. I'm flying, baby. I'm fucking gone. No more war, no more government, no more cops, no more plague, no more art critics or politicians or assholes. I'm soaring high above the battleground on the crest of a lucid dream, washing my face with liquid starlight, time and space evaporating. If I had to guess, I'd say I'm on about 14 hits of acid, and everything tastes like black cherry ice cream. I can hear a distant radio wave carrying that lush disco Doja Cat song, and comets are dancing to it. The electrons in my mind are blitzing out geometrically impossible chess moves, and my tummy feels warm, like I am loved by something too big for me to understand. Oh, I know this place. It's my private mountaintop nirvana. A paradise for one. I haven't been here in a while, but it used to be where I would come to heal. Where everything felt whole and made sense, and there was no conflict because being itself was merely an optional playground. I like it here. I can be soft because there's nothing to protect myself from. I can be naive because there's nothing to understand. I can smile my truest smile because when I come here, I only bring what makes me feel good. The universe cradles me, rocking me rhythmically into my deepest peace. I relinquish. I am one with. I am losing my train of thought. Losing thought. Why am I having a conscious thought? What's this strange irritation I'm experiencing? Like something is, what's going on? Where am I? What is that sound? It sounds like oh, damn it. There's a mouse scratching at the bottom of my trash can. Oh man, and the neighbor is drilling already? What time is it? I probably overslept. I have to get back to the gallery. I have to finish writing the thing for Alison's show. This keeps happening to me. You see, I never managed to actually board the lifeboat. I keep crashing back to earth and waking up back in my bed each morning, alone, frightened, insecure, skinned raw by the re-entry, overwhelmed by the prospect of another day in reality. In a world that can so flippantly crush my humblest attempts to rise. I always always panic for a second, and I try to go back to sleep, but I never can. Once I'm aware, I'm awake, I get stuck in it. Then before I even have my breakfast, I've usually failed to protect my headspace from the avalanche of worry. And once I open my eyes to the outside world, I can forget about inner peace. It takes everything I have just to swim through the wall of noise, to duck and dodge the headlines, the products, the traffic, the phony implications of societal obligation. It's usually a few hours before I can comfortably wear the half-hearted, insouciant posture that I adopt as a deflection of the generalized surrender to capitalism. And by that time, around lunch, I've almost entirely lost touch with the version of myself who, just before dawn, had heroically broken the chains of physics and narrative in a glorious, frenetic ballet of pure energy. Then I'm like, shit, how am I supposed to write today? Do I have to deal with what's going on around me? Do I have to talk about it? Or do I have to delve inward and process my own trauma if I want to access sincerity? Somehow none of that sounds quite right. None of that's going to liberate or inspire anyone. It doesn't even do anything for me anymore. So what is it that makes a pen worth picking up? Gradually, I start to remember that in this waking world, there's only a handful of things that I really get any energy from doing. Looking at Alison's windows, listening to Fernando's music, working on Carrie's book, being around people who themselves are doing things that light the way beyond surrender and self-pity. When the atrocities and responsibilities and inconveniences and fears are painted out of my canvas, this is what comes into focus. And suddenly, I am so glad that I've got an art gallery to go hang out in today. I'm so thankful for all the squats and weird little music venues, all the funky basements in Aubervilliers and studio apartments in Montreuil and top floor chambre de bonne lining creaky old hallways all over the city. All the places we can still get together and teach each other how to gold leaf our wounds. How to fashion makeshift vehicles for our splintered rays of light so we can transport them safely to their eventual restoration. So what if we don't feel confident right now? So what if we give it all for no immediate reward? So what if we love like fools and wind up alone? So what if we cry at night and wake up scared? So what if we lose our homes, lose our parents, lose our teeth, die without money? Everyone is shattered. That's not a news item anymore. The linear progression of factual reality blew past its critical acceleration point and jumps the track. It's no longer on a timeline that humans can even follow. We can't keep up with it, we can't live up to it, we can't reel it back in, and we can't survive it. It has left us all behind on some kind of dystopian beach where we all imagine that we are awaiting some final tsunami, but we don't know when it's coming or whether we are already living in its anticlimactic aftermath. So the people I dig the most are the ones who are scouring the sand for flotsam, driftwood, pretty pieces of sea glass, and patching together into something that floats. Grabbing every good thing they can find, every word, every note, and using it to build, to catch light, to make sound, to give our energy a chance to escape the confines of our mortal lifetimes so that it might go on and continue to do some good. We can launch unmanned conceptual escape pods into the cosmic ether, man. We can design the entryways to flight paths for the mind. We can make doors and windows and poems and songs and paintings and just leave them here. On the off chance that someday they will be needed, that maybe they will open onto someone else's first steps of freedom. And that is probably the most optimistic thought I can arrive at in a day. The idea that we can decide to leave a map of human history, of our own history, that isn't governed by the ugly, the banal, the unfortunate. That we can choose a lens through which to testify of existence. And so what if by doing this we still can't save ourselves? What if we could save one person, like 100 years from now, for even 5 minutes? Wouldn't that be amazing? I'm sure that we have the power to do that. Just as you, by being here tonight, are saving